Boy, oh boy. I didn't know I was going to have to do this video today. I didn't know I was going to have to do this video today. Like, I did not know that this was going to be the thing that I was going to have to do this day. In case you haven't heard because you're living under a rock, they fired Stan Van Gundy. Out of there. Now, I was definitely one of Stan's apologists, and I was definitely a supporter of him. I still hope he gets an opportunity to coach somewhere in the future because, like I said, I think his understanding of the game of basketball is elite. But if your two star players are not happy with him, guess what? Gotta go. Gotta go. And I don't have to explain what this means in general for the front office, but let's talk about something real quick, right? Let's talk about this nigga Griff. Fired Alvin Gentry, or really you let him coach for a year and then you fired him. Okay. You hire Stan and you fire Stan. Okay. That's two. You've been wrong twice. Why should he get a third shot at this? Like, why? Why should he even get a third shot to fuck this up? I've detailed a video of what they could have had in the draft, right? I ain't even talk about the following year. But I detailed what they could have had in the draft. The nigga got two fucked up coaching decisions. They lost a year of Zion essentially due to his injury. Yes, I'm just going to say a full fucking year. They traded Drew Holiday for assets that really don't fucking matter unless we see some kind of Godfather trade this offseason. We're going to trust this guy to draft again and hire another coach again? Anyone. See, I don't have a fucking issue with Stan's hiring. But if we're going to act like Stan was the main problem with this team, no. The only reason Stan was a problem with this team is because of who hired him. Griff. If you have to fire him after a year, the person that fired him has to go too because this is going to be the third coach for Zion in each of his years as an NBA player. That is not good for keeping young players or superstar level players. But I don't get this whole notion that Griff gets another crack at this. Bruh, you had the only thing you did right was the AD trade. And you were hired to do the AD trade. That literally is what happened. They told you you're going to go in, you're going to take this deal, and this is how it's going to go down. And you're going to get the number one pick in exchange. The Pelicans already knew ahead of time what was going in. This thing was already in the fixes. They already knew this like you're going to get the number one, the number four, and you're going to get these guys. But Griff, you shouldn't get to be here any longer, bro. Nothing you have done has panned out. And when I showed you guys what was left on the table for the Pelicans to have, for real? Why is he no, you shouldn't even touch anything. You need to be out of here. I hope we hear Griff out of here within the next couple hours, or maybe even within the next within the next month, because I don't think the draft is going to happen until July. I could be mistaken. But either way, man, he got to go. He part of the issue. He's part of the fucking issue. But anyway, let me not stay on this nigga nuts too long. So check this out. Y'all go and look at my coaching videos of the ones I wanted them to hire last year. It pretty much has not changed. Look, I still want Kenny Atkinson. I still want Earl Watson. I still want God damn, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Bi's mentor, Jerry Stackhouse. Um, Now, I guess to add to that list, I would like to see Jason Kidd if they keep Lonzo. I'm gonna get into that in a minute. Um, Sam Cassell, he was always one of my favorite players when he played. I like him. I think I would like to see him get a crack. And Chauncey Billups, definitely. Here's the thing, and this is going to be extremely sexist of me, but I don't want to see a woman coach for the New Orleans Pelicans. Sorry, Becky Hammon, Teaspoon. I get it that they're phenomenal in what they do, but I don't think this group needs to have a new woman coach being the president. I think that's too much extra distraction away from the team. If you're gonna go with a woman coach, I think I'd rather see that in Portland. A team that's already got an established superstar level player and stuff like that. I would much rather a lady get a shot at a team that's already built to for success, and so that way it's not so much about okay, the young guys and all this other stuff and living up their potential expectations. I just think it would take away from the business of basketball. Has nothing to do with the gender, but I don't want to see any of the lady coaches get. I don't want to see that. If you're gonna keep Teaspoon, I'd rather her stay as player development. I like her as player development. Up her to a higher level of assistant coaching, fine, but don't don't let her touch head coaching. Uh, I know they were talking about Jack Vaughn and a couple other ones. Basically, the same ones the Pelicans had from last year are still the same ones they want this year. Now, I have a problem with that because here's my thing, right? You chose not to hire these guys for whatever reason, and you picked Stan. So obviously, you didn't think they were qualified. Why are they more qualified this year? What have they? What have any of them done this year that makes them even more qualified? Dan Antoni is still out there. He's the most qualified coach that'll probably be available. And I know Scott Brooks, I think, from Washington was let go. Terry Stotts was let go, I think, too. Um, so my thing is like, okay, what's the point? If you're gonna maybe want to go after one of these new coaches, like if Bud gets the axe after this year, you want to hire Budenholzer, okay. But everything else, everybody else, it's like, nah, y'all said no. So why do y'all still want to cycle back through them? Shouldn't you go get new candidates? That's why I said, look, Earl Watson, because if the problem was connecting with the players and understanding the game of basketball, which they claim that wasn't the issue, it was connectivity with the players and the record and defense. Go with Earl Watson. Go with Kenny Atkinson. He if you don't like Earl or if you don't like Stack, go with Kenny. Kenny actually has a track record of winning when he was with Brooklyn and he had D'Angelo Russell, who was a former Laker, and Jared Allen and the rest of those guys when they got into the playoffs. That was on him. So go with him. You know what I'm saying? Don't sit here cycle through these old coaches that you said no to. Now, if you want to add Jason Kidd to the list, go ahead. Because I don't think he was on the list last year because of his, domestic abuse shit that happened from years ago, which shouldn't inhibit his hiring. Can a nigga coach? Absolutely. But that's just me. I don't like this whole list of coaches, things that they're trying to recycle from the previous year. To me, it's just like, again, back to the Griff point. It's like, bruh, why do you get another crack at it? If you're going to go through the same guys you had last year, why not pick one of those guys the year before and not have stand for a year? I'm just saying. So, y'all know where I stand on the coaches. That has not changed. I will say the only difference is I wouldn't mind a Mike Budenholzer. Any of these established coaches who get axed, who've done something in the league and are still coaching at a high level. I'm okay with them for the most part, especially if they're guys who connect with the players and they're gonna run players in the way that is gonna get the best out of them on offense and defense. Um, so I think that covers the three major things I think that affect Stan and that. So let's talk about the players themselves. Here's the thing, y'all. I told y'all, I told y'all there was a chance that Lonzo would stay, and so that should be kept, privy in the back of your heads, right? Because we don't know what the situation is going to be in the coming months. I told y'all this. And Lonzo now, this offseason, has even more of a decision to make because guess what? They could very well fire Griff. If they fire Stan and Griff and they get a better front office and they get a better coach, now I know Zach and Lonzo been extra chummy these past couple days and weeks. They've been like, and for all we know, that might be a for sure thing. Zach may have already convinced Zoe, and Zoe might say, "Yeah, I'm coming." We don't know that. However, if I'm Lonzo Ball, well, this nigga that was trying to run me as a shooting guard is gone. Who they hire? Let's say they go get Jason Kidd, who he was compared to, and what if Jason Kidd gets hired? He's like, hold on. He's like, Griff, y'all. Some Griff is still like, look, we need to keep Lonzo. It's like, I can get Lonzo to the next level. Sign him and let me talk to him. I think I can convince him to take a little bit less money, and it will work out better for the franchise because he'll end up producing more than that contract. If Jason Kidd go get Lonzo, it's like, what's up, dog? Kid, what's up? Look, man, this is what I want to do. That bullshit y'all ran last year was not effective for you, Bi and Zion. I want y'all all in the gym. We're gonna work out this summer, and I'm gonna get you right. I'm gonna make you an all-star level player next year. Y'all gonna be in the playoffs. I just need you to work with me. Here's what I need you to do. Take maybe a meal or two less and everything so we can keep you here. If you do that, we're gonna put the ball in your hands. You are going to be the playmaker of this team, and you're going to be the leader of this team, and you're going to get the most out of Zion, and you get the most out of Bi, and y'all are going to be one of the most dynamic teams in the league. This is what we're going to run, and this is the positions I'm going to put you in. If Zoe is willing to trust Jason Kidd, and it don't have to be Jason Kidd, it could be Kenny Atkinson, any other coach they get. If they can reach out to Lonzo and connect with Zoe this offseason, Zoe will be a Pelican next year. And if he's a Pelican next year, all hell gonna break loose. But that's a big if. Because I still think right now he's hip. So when you like somebody, you're extra friendly with them. You know what I'm saying? Like they almost got him, Zach LaVine and Zoe got like a bromance going on, in a way. You don't have a bromance with a player from another team unless y'all trying to hook up. I'm just saying. That deal probably is already set. Like, we don't know what the Chicago front office is looking at or how much they think they want to pay Zoe. But Zoe may be saying, look, I want to go there. Ultimately, like I've told you guys, it's not his decision. It's how much does the front office want to pay to keep him around. And they very well could say, look, we're going to offer you $25 million a year. If they offer him $25 million a year, the only team that can beat them or match them is the fucking Knicks. Okay? And I'd like to think that the Knicks probably would say, fuck it, we take our chances trying to get Kyle Lowry or somebody else for that amount. But the Pelicans don't want to handcuff themselves unless they got some kind of mental gymnastics they finna do with the cap to get them to a place to where they can actually, have some flexibility, and paying Lonzo 25 million a year won't crush him. Um, Ultimately, again, I think let me put a number on it. It's probably 35 to 45% chance Lonzo stays. It's with Stan gone. I think that's a huge change. But it's not just Stan; it's who they hire because they hire some fuck nigga coach. All bets are off. Um, but again, the Pelicans front office have to make a decision on Lonzo now because they can't wait. There are teams that already have been vocal about wanting Lonzo. There's players that want Lonzo. The Clippers have even had an article come out recently about how they didn't have the point guard they needed, so they hired Chauncey to help teach Paul George and Kawhi how to play make. They still want a point guard. They're not even playing Rondo. So they could still be in the picture very well, and they could still look to try to make a move to get him. Maybe a sign and trade, Luke Kennard, or some other shit for Lonzo Ball. Um, and the sign and trade thing is still always going to be on the table in my eyes. That's never going to go away until he's on his team. This is a very interesting situation because, like I said, we don't know what's coming down the pipeline. Griff could be out of here. Griff could stay. We don't know what could happen with the draft balls. Maybe the Pelicans get a top 5 draft pick. If the Pelicans get a top 5 draft pick, now they got some really good capital. Do they take who do they take in the draft? You know what I'm saying? Do they package the number 5 at Eric Bledsoe or the number 5 at Steven Adams? Or it don't have to be number 5. It could be the 6 or 7. Those are all high quality picks. Do you package one of those with Bledsoe or Steven Adams to get out from under one of those contracts? If you get out from under one of those contracts, you just freed up a lot of cap space. You can afford to pay Lonzo. There's so much stuff that we really don't know that could happen. So we don't know how this works. But the draft lottery, I believe, is this week sometime. We're gonna have to pay close attention to that because depending on that pick, that could be a highly coveted pick, a highly coveted asset. The Pelicans need to desperately get one of those top 7 picks. I don't think they'll get a top 5 pick. If they do get one, it'll be number 5. I don't think they'll get 4, 3, 2, or even a 1. If they get the number 1 pick, I don't see how they keep Lonzo anyway. They probably want to take Cade Cunningham and just replace Lonzo with him, and then there you go. So that's what I think we're at with this in general. Now, there's the BI and Zion thing. They clearly didn't like staying cool for them. But are the Pelicans front office going to include them on the search for a coach? That's the question. And obviously they said they were going to be working out doing all this other stuff, and I get that. But we don't know what's going to happen. I'm not sure what their relationship is with a lot of these other coaches. It was reported that they want to go with possibly look at Teresa Witherspoon as head coach, and I think Fred Vinson, and promote one of those two. Which I don't recall them being on their radar last year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not remember either one of them being up for a coaching position with the Pelicans last year. But again, we're gonna have to monitor this. Coaches have been fired left and right. Within the last couple of weeks, Nate Borchkin or whatever his name was for the Pacers got let loose again. I believe his name is Scott Brooks, if I'm not mistaken, for Washington. Terry Stotts is no longer going to be coaching Portland. And there's going to be a host of other coaching changes. Okay? Again, if Milwaukee loses, I expect Bud to be out of there. And Bud has shown results. So it wouldn't surprise me if he got a coaching job with the Pelicans. He could be a high quality hire because you're looking at that core they got down there with Zoe, Ingram, and Zion, and you say, hey, this is a good, that's the reason why Stan wanted to come because he's like, they got a good core. But really, it's a good duo because their focus is Zion and BI. But, we don't know. All we know is Stan is out of here. And so, and like I said on Twitter, if you guys have not followed me on Twitter, unleash the fucking hounds. All fucking year. Blog boys have been talking cash money shit. They've been running their goddamn mouths talking so much shit about Lonzo Ball. And just recently, they've turned their eye to Brandon Ingram. Well, if you don't like Stan, you need to get out the team. You don't need to be here. Y'all need to go crush their ass today till there's nothing left. Every one of these fuckers out here that was talking all that shit, y'all need to be in their mentions, blowing their ass up. Because they was wrong and they tried to tell you otherwise. And yet again, the common guys know what the fuck they're talking about compared to these blog boys who just sit there, look at their numbers, and jack off to like equations and shit all day. Okay? Fuck them. For real, fuck them. And I think it's ridiculous that you would sit there and blame, 23, 24-year-old players for the situation that they were put in. Check this out. Let me pull this camera up close real quick. Lonzo has had a different coach every year of his career, with the exception of his first two. He's going into year 5, and he'll have his 4th coach, no matter whether he's on the Pelicans or if he's on another team. For B.I., I think this is his 5th coach. This will be his 5th coach. Okay? 5 coaches in 6 years. Zion has had a different coach, or will have had a different coach, every fucking year of his career so far. So will No. So will Jackson Hayes. What you need is continuity. This is why I'm so against Griff being on this staff and making these decisions, because clearly he is not capable. But they need consistency at coach. You need someone that is going to be allowed to fail and is going to be able to grow and groom these guys into a well-oiled machine. That's why I wanted to go with Earl Watson. I like his basketball mind. I think he's young enough to reach the players, and I think he understands the nature of the game because he was a player. And I'm partial to player coaches, guys who played in the game, because those guys understand the game, and they, especially the most recent ones, if they just got a league within the last 10 years or so, I think those guys' understanding of the game and how it's being played, especially, is going to be beneficial. Mike D'Antoni, by the way, is a possibility for that job. And he's not a bad pickup. We know at least if he's playing, them boys about to go. That offense is about to go. And they're going to have to get some shooters because D'Antoni needs shooters. So that's another hire to look out for. And we'll see. Pelicans were extra patient last year. Granted, Brooklyn's still in the playoffs. I'm not sure if they can interview D'Antoni. I think he interviewed for Portland. I think I think you can be allowed to interview for another team while you're in the playoffs. So maybe they go ahead and roll the dice and say, fuck it, let's go get him in. Let's bring him in and see what we can do. But again, well, let me not say again. Here's my thing. I want whatever coach we get to also prioritize defense. I want both sides of the ball prioritized. I don't want just super offense and no defense. I don't want super defense and no offense. You need both. And especially if Lonzo's going to be playing, I need whatever coach Lonzo is going to be under to prioritize defense. Because like I've explained to you guys in my previous video breaking down the Golden State game, Lonzo teams need that defense because they want to run. They need to force missed shots. And I need whoever they get to make sure they can get defense out of one of Zion or B.I. As long as you get one of them, the team is infinitely better. You don't have to have both right now. But if you can get one of them to play defense at a good enough level, the team is infinitely better because of it. What I want to see the Pelicans do, and this is regardless of if Lonzo is on the team, because this is support Zion and B.I., they need to be training up Jackson Hayes this offseason to be a shooter. Mid-range first. If he can get the three, great. But mid-range first. You need him to be able to pull the defense away from the rim. And even if he shoot 33% from three, whatever, fuck it. If he can hit 47% from mid-range consistently and the defense has to guard him, guess what? It doesn't matter who's in the pick and roll with him. Jackson Hayes has an option now. You get Zion the ball, and Zion is attacking, and they collapse on him. Jackson Hayes is wide open for a dunk or a mid-range jump shot that cannot be contested. If B.I.'s in the pick and roll, he can stop on a dime, and he can pull up anywhere, and he can make the pass to Jackson Hayes. He's done it all season. And if Jackson Hayes can hit the mid-range, they can play a nice little two-man game, and you're not going to have a way to stop it. Jackson Hayes, Jackson Hayes, Jackson Hayes. So whoever you have as a coach must have an idea to get the most out of Jackson Hayes in his shooting. And that should be the priority for Jackson Hayes this offseason. Off-ball shooting and mid-range jump shot shooting. That should be the two places. And picking up his weight. He needs to gain some weight. Those are the two places where if he shows the most improvement, regardless of if Lonzo is on the team or not, Zion and B.I. will benefit from this heavily in the future. Outside of that, I'm going to close this video out. Y'all have a good one. Peace.